What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Memory Lane Unscripted, the podcast series where we explore what video games make us tick. Today, I have my friend, the beautifully glassed. Now I gotta get the moniker down. Today, I have my guest, Variety's own Jordan Moreau. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. I am just stuck at home, but ready to talk about some video games. So I'm excited. I'm excited to dive into it.
Yeah. If you didn't know, you can find this on Google Podcasts. Search for Memory Lane Unscripted, and you will find it. It's also posted on YouTube every last Sunday of the month. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce my co-host. Jordan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jordan Moreau, gamer extraordinaire, maybe not so extraordinary, but no, I like to play some games, kind of funny best friend, you could also say. I'm a writer at Variety.com, so I'm writing a lot about just movies, TV shows, what's happening in pop culture and entertainment in these crazy times, but I still like to play a lot of games in my free time, so I'm excited to tell you about some of my favorite ones and what they mean to me, I guess.
I love it. Let's kick it off. Jordan, what have you brought for us today?
When I started thinking about what games mean a lot to me, I guess I started try to think of the ones that I've played the most, I guess, throughout my life. And I have two that I wanted to talk about. And the first one is just the Pokemon series.
Okay.
And so I've been played every single Pokemon generation, since I had a Game Boy, and I couldn't even read what was going on. I just had no idea what was even how to even play the game when I was super young. So I mean, it's been around for a long time. I can read now, and I can play them a lot easier and better now. They've been around, I guess, for my whole life. I mean, it's always I always go back to Pokemon. I bought a Switch mostly to play the new Pokemon Shield and Sword for the one that just came out. I always have some kind of Nintendo system that in Pokemon always brings me back. What's your history with Pokemon for you?
So I started, I did watch the anime when I was a kid. That was my actual first thrust into the Pokemon world. I was Pokemon and Digimon for me. Honestly, as a series, Digimon better in my opinion. But
interesting.
Okay. Just as a TV series, the video games are not as good, obviously, as Pokemon. But so my first memory with Pokemon is going into a Toys R Us, which I eventually ended up working at later on down the line. And I remember going to the Game Boy Color aisle and seeing just a shiny cartridge, and I'm I knew what Pokemon was, but I didn't know, I wasn't thrust into that, and seeing that shiny cartridge, and it was Pokemon Crystal, and just I was that's what I was drawn to. I was not drawn to the fact that it was Pokemon, and I started playing it. I'm this is awesome. And I think that was one of those memories where I always have, where I'm just it was just, it's a handheld game, so you're just sitting in your car, you're playing it.
Play it anywhere.
Yeah, you can just play, your parents are we have to go to the grocery store. I'm okay, as long as I can bring Pokemon,
Exactly, yeah.
So yeah, I started out with that, and it's still my favorite to this day. I would say that I kind of tapered off after the 4th generation. And I've tried multiple times. Every time a Pokemon game comes out, I'll buy it and I will play maybe 5 hours of it, and I don't I don't know what it is. I just don't continue. Yeah. So I haven't bought Sword or Shield yet. I did buy Let's Go last time, and that was my favorite of most of the Pokemon games that have come out recently. But I think it's mostly tied to nostalgia.
For me, it was probably the same. I started to not get so serious about it, Gen 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then from then on, it was I didn't go back and play a lot of them in like maybe just like one playthrough or something. But yeah, for me, like I remember, I had Red or Blue. I had one, I think the first one, and then I had Gold after that, and like that's what I remember playing as a kid the most, and then somehow just figuring out what to do and like going through it, and then like I remember like beating Red at the very end was just like a huge battle. Like it was just like I don't even know how I ended up like finding that out because that was before like I think I had like a game guide or like one of those things, and so I guess I like was helping me go along. But yeah, I remember like I always bought the guide to everyone just to help me through it. I got over that eventually, and I don't use them anymore. But yeah, Emerald and Gen 3 were the ones I think I put the most time in. And I think it's still, I mean, it's still my favorite for sure, I would say. Just like it came out, I think I was at like the right age where like the anime was awesome. Like collecting Pokemon cards was still cool, even though I didn't know how to play the game. Something about it just like really clicked. And then Gen 4, I remember that was when like my friends and I were playing it in, I guess it would have been about middle school ish, early high school maybe. And we'd like go and just like play like at someone's house. Like we'd all choose like a certain starter to have, so we'd all have a different one, and then just like play and battle against each other. So yeah, like those early times were, I mean, like like so important, I guess, to me. It just came out at the right time with like when my friends and I were all playing, and it's still stuck with me for sure since then. Um, but yeah, like the deeper, I guess, if we want to get super deep into it, I think like one of the reasons why it's so like just felt like I don't know, this is like a game for me. Was because like I'm an only child, like with just like raised by my mom. And like in all the games, I mean, you play as like a single child, like you just have your mom around. And so like something like that I think really stuck with me. And I was like, oh wow, like I really feel like I am like this kid, like in like this little small town, just like living on his own. And I mean, I think like the journey aspect, I really like now, like playing Sword, like seeing it all like in 3D, like the Pokemon are out running around the grass. Like it's a much more like fully realized world that just like I like really like hit me, and I was like, man, like I really feel like I like have gone on a journey, like leaving home and like going to all these new places. So playing this the most recent one really like stopped me, and I was like, oh man, like I really feel like a kid again, like playing it because like this is a game I've like been waiting for my whole life, like a open world like kind of Pokemon game. Like everything's like 3D, you can just like walk around and do anything. So I think subconsciously that's why it like had meant so much to me as a kid.
I think that's what's so cool about a lot of video games, because I mean, obviously video games is an interactive medium. They can put you into these shoes of these characters, whether they be creative characters or regular, just characters that, are have a set base. But like you said, like being an only child, we find things of ourselves in these characters. And I think
Yeah.
that's something that yes, can be so personal to each person, especially if they're a blank template like a Link or a Pokemon trainer. I think
10-year-old kid.
a
Yeah.
10-year-old kid, yeah, exactly. And then I think also, I personally think a lot of what, and I think this goes along with the previous episode, is the community of it is
Mhm.
going to friends, like you said, going to friends' houses and having each getting a different starter and being able to trade with each other, and seeing the different, like, oh, how'd you do that, how'd you get that Pokemon? Well, I had
Who's that
to.
you?
Yeah, and like of course, like the playground talk of like, oh, there's a Mew hiding under the truck in Red, and then it was like missing No, and all this like the he said she said my uncle works at Nintendo sort of stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's something that, like, I don't mean to sound like a geriatric person, but I think that's something that kids today don't really understand, because they have the internet, they have this
Mhm.
access to, like, well, I can prove that you're wrong, but I think the wonder that is just like, if you go to this level, there's a secret there, and it not actually being there, but your mind just like, what is there, like, and you create
Yeah.
these like almost like makes the game better than what it may be. Sometimes with some games, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, like we didn't have like back in the day, like yeah, we couldn't go on the internet search like how to where to go, like, you know, like where the next gym is, or like how to catch this legendary. Because yeah, it was mostly like, yeah, kids talking at school like, oh, if you go here you can catch this Pokemon, or like the legendary is here, this is how you do it, or this is how you evolve this Pokemon. Or like, oh, this one's like better than that one, you should catch it. Like, yeah, it was all like we were all just like trading information and like all trying to figure it out amongst ourselves. And there was like, it was always like a race to the end. Like I remember like playing at one of my house, like all of us together, just like all playing our individual game. And like I think we started like the same spot, and I think I was definitely in last place because I'm the type of person who like always talks to the NPCs just to like learn more about like the world and like what's going on, or like get some free items, like because you can't pass those up.
But yeah,
yeah, I definitely like lagged behind, but yeah, we was all just like a free for all almost, like who can like beat this game the fastest, like without like needing any help, or then like just figuring out like pooling your knowledge amongst each other. Like, all right, here's how you can catch this, here's how you can catch that. So yeah, it was like I don't know. It's like it stuck with me since then. It's like I always like the Pokemon have gotten worse and worse every generation, and like some of the new ones just look like so trash.
yeah.
But I still have to play it. Like I still have to just like experience the journey that you go on, and like the people you meet, like the bad guys you have to fight, and like the Pokemon you can like become friends with and companions with, and like that look cool basically. So yeah, something about it has always like had like a special place in my heart.
I think that I don't know if it's because we're older now and we're just like, oh, like there are no Cubone, you know, but I think that, you know, we see like our starting, like everyone always says like your starter game is usually your favorite, and that's true with me. Like Crystal version is still my favorite. Maybe Heart Gold and Soul Silver as being the remakes of them, but I still have such a resonance with that, and I think a lot of it is the time and place. Like having do you have a Cubone? Do you have have you seen Ho-Oh yet? You know, if you go to the tower, I think that the even in such a small or a young time for, you know, being a kid, I guess your imagination is so flourishing, and you look at these pixels and your brain gives you so much more than what's actually on the page,
Sure.
or not the page, the game screen. I think that those games tie such well to childhood, because of them being, you know, that as expansive as they are, also them being like baby's first JRPG. Like I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but you know, like it got me into eventually playing Final Fantasy and playing all these different JRPGs that I would, you know, otherwise not have wanted to play. Like I mean, two of my favorite games of all time are Kingdom Hearts 2 and Persona 5. And I don't think that I would get there. Maybe Kingdom Hearts, but I definitely would not have gotten to Persona or Final Fantasy without the starting of Pokemon. I think that also they were an avenue for other things, or you know, I guess I don't want to put it like this, but a gateway drug for other JRPGs. You know,
yeah.
So
it's so. I mean, the games are really easy and like criticism, but like they are for, you know, for kids.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's such an easy game to figure out and understand. And yeah, for a lot of kids, like that is like their way into gaming. I definitely think for me, I mean, like it just made me more interested in like in Nintendo, like playing Pokemon. I was like, oh, what other like cool games are out there? And I mean, that's probably like I'm sure I played Pokemon before I went on to play like Mario and Zelda games.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's so simple, like you just catch Pokemon and battle them. But then at the same time, I mean, if you want to get like, I'm sure as a kid I didn't understand like really the intricacies of type advantages and all that stuff. But now it's like I have to like pause the game and really think about like, okay, like I need to make sure like my team has like an answer to anything that anyone could throw at me. Like I need to have a fighting type to take on any kind of normal type. I need to have always need to have a ground type to take on electric types. Like I have to have these staples for every single team just to like make the like well-oiled machine that can become, you know, a champion team. And it's not like, I mean, if I really wanted to, I could just have like the coolest looking ones, and I'm sure just like overpower my way by like leveling up and like destroying everyone. But now it's like I think like I put more strategy into it when like kids can just like pick it up, catch the like the cutest, coolest looking Pokemon, and like still have fun with it. And I guess to me now it's like I like put those challenges on myself to make it like a more hardcore game. Or like I'll play like Nuzlocke runs where like if a Pokemon dies, you lose it forever and you can only catch like one per route. Like there's still like a way for like older people like us to be able to have fun with it, even though I mean it is a kid's game, like at the end of the day.
But to be able to, like you said, the Nuzlocke, I think the Nuzlocke runs that I've seen have made me want to get back into Pokemon
For sure.
more than, anything, because it is like, it's like the draw to like the Fire Emblem games where it's just like, if you lose this character, it's gone forever, especially with me as a person. I don't know about you, but I always named my Pokemon. Like after the first playthrough, or at least after I've caught one of them, I've named the Pokemon. And when you have a name to them and they've traveled with you for so many games, especially now where you have the Pokemon Bank, so some of these characters, or some, not characters, but Pokemon, could have been traveling with you since you were like 10 years old,
Yeah.
And to have those Nuzlocke runs.
Like, for some reason, I never gave any of my Pokemon names when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think when I started like just doing Nuzlocks for fun, that's when I started like naming them, because like it's like part of the rule or whatever. But then it's like, yeah, like I absolutely would, like I always name my Pokemon now, like just the first thing that whatever pops into my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like just whether it's like a normal person's name or just like something really stupid. But yeah, it does, like you have like that connection. It's like there's like a bond between you and this little like fake game creature, I guess.
Yeah, and it's just like you said, like going to like, okay, what do I name this? What do I name this Woodwoodo, I forget, Sudowoodo. What do I name this Sudowoodo? Let's say Snarfold. I'm just gonna name it Snarfold. And it's just like coming up with all those names, especially nowadays where you have thousands of Pokemon at this point. I don't really know how much, but
and like some of the weird ones now, it's like I don't know their real Pokemon name, like from the
just because
I know what its nickname is, but I don't know what its actual like given name is.
Right. Yeah.
It's definitely one way to like just grow deeper like with the game, I think.
And for a community to be able to come up with things like Nuzlocke playthroughs and all that, like I think right now for me that is Animal Crossing, and people like go like the boundless entertainment that is the stock market is astounding, where people are buying and selling turnips, and like there's like people have made dedicated websites to be able to sell. Like people are like, oh, I have a 300 bell turnip price, you can come to mine, but it's an entry fee of 100,000 bells, and this like all that stuff, and like the Twitter posts of okay, we're playing hide and seek, and whoever wins gets all the bells. Like I think it's such a cool thing for a game that's not based around an actual central theme. And I to see, going back to Pokemon, is seeing people, the community, take the game and actually make it into a different game or add a different mode of them. Like that's really cool. And then sometimes you'll even get developers cherishing or taking that into account, and to be able to put that into the game as an actual mode. And that's what I find super cool, is like mobilizing your community to be able to make it more fun even.
Yeah, and like I mean, like we all remember the phenomenon that was Pokemon Go like a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, can you imagine like what other game has the power to like literally like bring people together their home onto going downtown or onto the streets, like finding Pokemon in real life? Like that summer of like the first summer of Pokemon Go, I mean, like was just absolutely like mesmerized. Like nothing like has happened, or I think like maybe will happen like that ever again.
I agree.
Like it was absolutely like magical, like seeing all that happen.
It was so absurd where you even had people who had never touched a Pokemon game, like in their like late 50s, and all this, like, oh, I'm catching a Pikachu. I'm looking for Pikachu. I'm looking for
Yeah,
You know, yeah, and like you have like your uncle coming up to you, be like, "Hey, have you seen this?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what Pokemon is because I haven't played that far." You know, and I think like there is something inherently addictive and yeah, it's still casual about Pokemon that brings so many people together. I think like a bunch of other games based on that same principle of Pokemon Go have sprouted up, like a Ghostbusters Go. I don't remember exactly what that's called.
There's like a Harry Potter one, I think.
There's
also
a Harry Potter one. Like none of these franchises have brought together as many people as that Pokemon Go has, you know, and I think that it's just so fascinating to see that, because people like I know people who are still playing it to this day.
Yeah, and it's like it's still going on. Like I haven't touched it like really since then.
Yeah,
and I mean now like we can't go outside, so there's not much going on like right now, I'm sure, with it. But yeah, I mean I just like I fell off, and I mean it's like some people took that so seriously, like the gym battling and everything. Like it was like a lifestyle for like a little while. Like people were so into it.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think that a lot of this podcast is turning into the fact that community breeds excellence or games get together community and can breed excellence in video games, and I think vice versa too. Whereas video games have the capacity to bring people together who otherwise wouldn't, especially with that Pokemon Go concept. But with that, I think it's time to end the podcast in our way of saying goodbye. I'm gonna have you plug whatever you want to plug right now, Jordan.
Oh, for sure. So yeah, my Twitter is at Jordan Moreau, JordanMoreau, with an underscore at the end because the other one was taken, I think. And yeah, I just I write for Variety.com. So just always click our tweets on Twitter when you see them. Just check us out because we're a little news organization, I guess, in the entertainment industry. But yeah, I'm writing over there. I'm just like covering the news that's happening out there. Doing just like fun stories every once in a while. So just, think about checking us out whenever you're interested in the movies, TV shows that are coming out, reviews. We kind of do a lot of stuff over there. So kind of like my organization's company, but or like plug, but yeah, that would mean a lot, I guess. But this has been awesome. I love talking about Pokemon and just games in general. So
yeah, and I think that's at the end of the day, like that's the greatest thing is like, bringing to like in Pokemon Go, bringing people together with video games and being able to cherish things that we love, whether it be through nostalgia or whether it be through our current, day. I will say, check out if you've seen Tiger King, check out his interview on Variety with the husband of Joe Exotic. Very great content. But ending this podcast, you can find it on podcast services, Google Podcast to be specific, YouTube every Sunday, or every last Sunday of every month. And until next time.
Until next time.
Take care.